Thanks.
We're recording. Do you want me to start again?
One thing Google Drive part, please.
Really?
I'm just kidding there.
I'll do it.
You do want to get to bed tonight?
Oh dear. All right. So maybe actually I'll just start that again. I won't talk about it again. I'll just go through the steps. So reference xref scenes. I pick my file that I want to reference in. So the site, open, and I would set it to overlay. Enable, we'll turn it on and off. Overlay means that it won't be attached and come with, if I wanted to xref this file into something else, or I'm doing a building in here, someone else is working on the site, but they want to look at the building. If I overlay, they can bring my building in without bringing the site back into the site file, which will cause a rip in the space-time continuum or something. You get a circular reference and a glitch in the matrix. It's all bad. Merge will basically insert all this geometry and explode it. Update, this is when you open a file, it'll kind of just load the old geometry unless you have it automatically update. Update now will do an update of all of that. It's like reloading. It's like unloading and then reloading. You've got a bunch of different options in here, visible, invisible box, and this might be something, you just display, it might be the entire city in the background that you just need there for rendering, but you don't want to have it slow down your display. This stuff is quite useful. What would be an example? So you might ignore lights and cameras from another file. So maybe you've got specific lighting just for a building render, but for all of your aerial stuff where you focus more on you might be doing night lighting and urban rendering. So you might, ignore some stuff. And then this one can be quite useful if you're wanting to have kind of duplicates that are moved around. If I was to, let me just make a dummy. So this is just a dumb bit of nothing. It's like just a placeholder. I can bind this guy to this dummy. Because one of the things you can't do in an xref is move it. So you can't kind of interact with the geometry. It's there. It will render. You don't do stuff to it. It's like it's there as an overlay. If I want to move it, you can link it or bind it to something else. So in this case, a dummy, which I can then move around. There are scenarios where I would do that. So if maybe there's maybe I was doing a housing competition or something, and you're doing medium density housing and you've got 3 types and you wanted to show how they would spread through a suburb, you could maybe use it for something like that. Okay, so that's all good and well. So that's a simple, so now I could get in here and I could build some geometry. I could stick in some towers. There's my very sensitive treatment to the urban form of Venice. So that's fine, and I can work in that way. And then when I decide I want to, turn the background site stuff off, I'll just turn that off. So unenable. You can remove it, which gets rid of the link entirely, but you probably wanted to be able to turn things on and off. And so I'll just open this other one. So that's the process I did for this guy. We need to work on the same installation of Tyflow, but it seems to work fine anyway. Okay, so in here, show you how this one's made up. I'll get rid of. So I've got in here, I modelled up this beautiful tower and this beautiful tower. I did a little Tyflow thing with a bit of animated teapots. So I went through that process. I just had an empty file, a xref in the site. I might just add, this is also fairly in need of some development. It's all very low level. Let's do that again. So there's some more sensitive development. And now if I xref in another file. So this is one that Jian Yi is working on right as we speak. Are you working on it right now?
Yes, probably you can extract that in first, and after that I will save what I updated, and like that will update on.
Okay, cool. So this is, so Jenny's been working on fixing up the bridges by making them less functional and more lofty, what is that, sweepy and latticey, looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is where, you know, ideally you've got really fast internet.
Yeah, I'll save it now.
Change the amounts, Control S, that will save back to the cloud, and that will update on Tiany's, you know, in Tiany's model. And so I could be working on my buildings in here, save, and this is where, you know, sometimes you'll break up a file and need to break it up again. So maybe I start to, you know, this, I'm really happy with these towers. I might want to break that off into a separate file. And so I can do that if I grab the geometry that I'm after. So this is my, you know, whatever this is, the towers. I can go file, and this is a type of saving or exporting. It's actually sort of like a saving selected, or in AutoCAD it'd be like, you know, creating a block that's, or, you know, spitting something out as a separate file. Has it changed where it puts it? Save selected, sorry, it has. So I could add the, you know, make this into Word towers. I like to stick just a, it's probably because I'm old, I like to stick an R in front of it because it's referencing into other stuff. And there's my Word towers file. So that's been saved out as a separate file. I can then delete that stuff, xref scene, and I'll add my wordy word thing in. I'll do it as an overlay and close. And so this way, you know, if I save that, this is the file I'm working in. And one of the things that this process allows is me to keep my files very small. So you can be working on files that are, you know, 1 or 2 meg. And in terms of syncing, that, you know, if your internet's okay, it'll be pretty close to straight away. If you've got a massive file, then that's going to be very different. But you know, that'd be the stuff that you would not want to be, you know, you'd want to separate those big bits of geometry out, and then I guess kind of just sync the smaller bits into that. So if, I don't know, Jenny, do you want to make a few other changes and we'll see if that works again?
So, well, just like really random changes.
And I guess it's worth knowing that this sort of feature, it exists in, I don't know, most sort of half decent software. So probably, I don't know, you might, I don't know if they've got a version of this in something like SketchUp, but I know, you know, you've got xrefing in AutoCAD. Rhino has it as well. I can't remember what it calls it. I mean, it has blocks, but it also has work sessions or something like that. I'm not entirely sure what it calls it. But if you, you know, if you use a bit of Rhino and you're doing this kind of collaborative modeling, it'd be certainly worth looking into. Revit, I think it has, I think if you use BIM 360, I think you can do something vaguely similar. Has anyone had any experience with that?
Yeah, so you can do just Revit links, and then if you've got a synchronized session running, work sharing. So that works well if you just synchronize each time.
Yeah. And so I guess, I mean, this is something that you probably want to be on top of just generally, but particularly at this time where we have to, we're not working in studio spaces or sharing spaces with shared servers. I think most of us are working from the cloud. These sorts of workflows are really important to get your head around. And yes, they're not perfect. They can sometimes have compatibility issues, but pretty useful to be able to just where you go. That's a bit better. To be able to have stuff syncing reasonably quickly and sharing models and breaking things up. And then the other thing is, in the projects we'll be working on, you might start doing stuff that's let's see. So you might have some sort of analysis thing. Someone was asking about sky view factor. What's that? What's the email about it? Someone?
Yeah, that was me.
That was you. Okay. So you could set up a kind of a file that's just doing sky view factor. You set up a dome light, have no sun, and be kind of calculating your urban canyon. This is basically doing that. It's got a dome light. If my canyon is, let's make it much higher, you'll get, this will go more blue. We could talk about this later, but what you could be doing is you could be setting up a kind of urban canyon analysis sort of render file that's got all your lighting and stuff set up. But it could be just referencing in someone else's piece of geometry.